In this urgent report, we're going to be going over some very important information regarding a major winter storm that's expected to really get going today across the United States. Multiple rounds of extremely dangerous severe storms, widespread heavy snowfall and blizzard conditions, flooding, rainfall, and widespread non-thunderstorm winds are all in the cards from this system. So without further delay, let's get straight into this important information. Current satellite imagery over the United States as of Monday morning shows this major winter storm in its early stages of development, with a low-pressure area right around the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. The subtropical jet stream is moving right over Mexico and into the southeast U.S. Weather alerts currently in effect include winter storm warnings for parts of the Four Corner states, with winter weather advisories in the purple. Blizzard warnings are in effect in the high plains from New Mexico and Colorado into the Texas Panhandle and parts of Kansas and Nebraska. Winter weather advisories are in effect for many areas across the plains and Midwest where we expect slightly less impactful winter weather. But if you are within this large pink area, you are under a winter storm warning. Winter storm watches are in effect for those areas in blue, so expect those to be upgraded later today. And lastly, additional winter storm watches are in effect for New Hampshire and Maine in anticipation of another wave of wintry weather from this storm. We're going to use the HRRR weather model to give us the best idea of what's going to happen over the next 48 hours, and we've already begun to see this storm explosively strengthen like you saw on the satellite imagery. Over the last several hours, we've seen widespread rain and storms develop over the southern plains as the surface low develops. The system will continue organizing today and very rapidly, in fact, with widespread heavy snow to the north and a line of storms over Texas. Problems will start to arise as early as sunrise with scattered storm activity, especially across southeast Texas. Some of these may carry an isolated tornado and hail threat. Widespread storms will advance north across East Texas, and by the afternoon, we're going to see much more intense supercells develop over the Gulf and head into Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. These storms look much more ominous on the shorter range weather models, and with reason, since this is going to be an extremely sheared environment. Very intense supercells within the warm sector and along the cold front will continue to move across Louisiana and Mississippi going into the nighttime hours. As you can see here, we see more of a squall line develop for the evening and nighttime hours, so this will give way to more of a QLCS tornado potential. Even still, isolated supercells will continue moving ahead of this cold front by Tuesday morning, so we're still going to be dealing with a significant tornado threat with these. As the line of storms marches into the southeast U.S., yet another wave of strong tornado potential will exist from South Carolina into the North Carolina Outer Banks. This will be a threat starting Tuesday afternoon and continuing into the evening. Thankfully, these storms should subside by overnight Tuesday, but this storm will still have some hazardous weather to offer. Focusing in on the northeast, look at all that torrential rain streaming in right off the Atlantic. This heavy rainfall will be accompanied by very strong winds, so we may be dealing with widespread power outages on Wednesday. Heavy rain and wind will move off the coast by Wednesday evening, but backside snowfall will remain across parts of the Great Lakes and Northeast. The severe weather threat is going to be a very serious aspect of this storm for today and tomorrow. The SPC has issued an enhanced risk from southeast Texas all the way into the Florida Panhandle, and this is going to be driven by a strong tornado threat, which includes the Houston, Texas metro area, New Orleans, Louisiana, Pensacola, Florida, Gulfport, Mississippi, and more. An even larger enhanced risk is encompassing much of the southeast U.S. from the Gulf Coast to the Carolinas. Even though the tornado threat will cover much of the enhanced risk zone, two particular areas of concern are expected to develop. One is for the morning hours of Tuesday, which includes Tallahassee, Florida, and Albany, Georgia. The other one is going to be over the Carolinas, which will be a focus during the afternoon hours. Columbia, Charleston, Myrtle Beach, and Orangeburg, South Carolina are just a few places within the strong tornado risk, and then in North Carolina, Wilmington, Jacksonville, Fayetteville, New Bern, and Goldsboro are also included. Widespread heavy rainfall will lead to flooding in parts of the southern United States today, with the highest threat of flooding from Louisiana into Mississippi and Alabama. This region will have hours of repetitive and very heavy storms, so multiple inches of rainfall may cause flash flooding. Going into Tuesday, we see the threat of flash flooding spread across the East Coast, with two moderate risk areas in place. Total precipitation for the next 3 days will be heavy across much of the central and eastern U.S., but it's going to be particularly intense from the Gulf Coast all the way up the eastern seaboard. Widespread non-thunderstorm winds will be a big story with this system as well, and you can see that all across the plains into the eastern U.S. Wind gusts up and over 50 miles per hour along the eastern seaboard will likely lead to widespread power outages as well, especially in areas that receive very heavy rainfall or wet snow. That's going to conclude this forecast, but make sure you subscribe to this channel so you always receive my forecasts and updates for the United States. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.